there was an interesting opinion piece in the New York Post suggesting that bullies, because of the way we're treating them, we're going to grow a generation of super bullies. They said that one of the reasons is because of Facebook posts and Twitter and Snapchat and Kik and everything else, that we've separated the bully. You used to have to bully in person, now you can bully separate. So that's sort of empowering to the bullies. And the second point, that parents are not as responsible as they once were, and kids are doing all kinds of things, and the parents are just completely disconnected because they don't see a kid come home with a punched face or a bruised knuckle. And I thought it was kind of interesting because everyone's talking about bullying constantly. First off, I kind of think that we need a certain level of bullying. I'm a little worried about the never-ending bullies are bad thing, because when you get to the real world, there are bullies. And if you've never experienced it as a child, doesn't that set you up for a really rough life?
That's a really interesting take about it. Yeah. I mean, I think that I
just came off as pro-bully, but we'll...
Absolutely. No, I mean, I think it's part of... Look, everybody's had bullies forever growing up from the beginning of time. But I do think, and with this sort of cyberbullying that happens, it's real and it's legitimate. And you can say anything to somebody on Twitter. You can say anything to somebody on Facebook. I mean, when you read the kind of hate that's on comments on stories and articles, it's people can hide behind that stuff.
If you were to read the things that they're saying about us right now below us, it would be
Come on, they're really sweet. They tried out.
Yeah, no, about us, I'm sure it's all great. No, but really, do you think it's any worse, actually, all the Facebook stuff and Twitter stuff is any worse than when we were in junior high school and it happened to our faces?
Yeah, because I think it's a lot easier for cowards to hide behind the veil of anonymity these days and just say whatever they want and go completely unchecked. I think that when you're face to face, there's still the accountability of okay, well, what if the kid that I'm bullying, has had enough and wants to punch me in the face? That doesn't exist on the internet.
Right.
But didn't it happen where you'd write on the blackboard, so Max sucks, and you put that on the blackboard, and then everybody would come in and see that?
Right.
You'd get in a lot of trouble, I feel like, if you did that. So maybe there's the same sort of, you got to put the same sort of rules.
Do you think part of the problem is we've taken violence, so we've shamed violence to the point that in the old days, in the 1980s, let's say, there were a lot of parents, I'm sure, that would, if their son was getting bullied, they would have said, well, you got to just punch him in the face, and then he'll stop bullying you. And actually, that really works most of the time, I think. And now we're so afraid of violence at all costs that you would never say that. If you were to say that to your kid now, you'd be shunned, right? If that came out that you said to your kid, punch the bully.
Did that ever work? Did the punch the bully thing
ever
work?
Worked.
I don't think it does, because I think that your parents are like, oh man, you should stand up and punch him, and then he's bigger than you because he's bigger than you in the first place, and it never happens like it does in the movies where you one punch, he goes down, the girl runs up. I don't know. It never happened for me.
Is that just a movie? So basically Biff in Back to the Future. That's my main thing. You
can't punch that guy.
You can't punch Biff. That punch would have never.
Did it ever work for you?
Or were you the bully, Max?
I was not the bully, but I always tried to talk my way out of confrontations, and I think that that's helpful. I think it's important to equip children with creative faculties so that they're able to problem solve in unique ways. Whereas so that maybe a punch isn't the only way out of a situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is kind of why Carrie is so gratifying, right? She's the bullied girl who finally gets back at everybody in a horrific way.
Right.
Boy, that seems extreme.
So you're endorsing lighting the other children on fire?
Yes.
Pretty much.
No. But Carrie's a pretty endearing story because she's the girl who's been bullied her whole life, and comes from really, horrible background. And I mean, it's a horror movie, but.
I think there's other ways, though, probably.
Right.
Like you're talking about with words. Maybe Carrie could have come and worked with the counselor.
Yeah, that's the method that I endorse.
Not as exciting a movie, though.
Right.
Especially for Halloween time.
Right.
Final thought on this: how much should the parents actually be responsible? Because this is the new thing now. We're hearing that a lot of times the parents do know what's going on, and now people are trying to take legal action against the parents because they didn't stop the kid from bullying. I feel like that's a dangerous slope too, because parents can't be watching kids all the time, and unless they're literally coaching them on the bullying, I don't know how responsible a parent could be for everything that a child does, right?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like you got to really be paying attention. Of course, I don't have any kids, so it's easy for me to say no Facebook and Twitter when I don't have to deal with it.
Do your parents know everything you're doing right now?
Yeah, they do.
Oh,
they're proud. They're writing the comments actually anonymously.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Probably.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we will.
What do you think? Do you think parents can be held responsible for some of this stuff?
I mean, I think that it's a parent's job to just raise the kid with values, of kindness and empathy. and to just teach them to sort of spread that message, you know, and to, again, talk their way out of things, to give them like a creative toolkit with which to solve problems. That helps. That goes a long way.
All right, people, when you're commenting on this, please use your creative toolkit. What was another buzzword you said there? Empathy.
Empathy is a buzzword these days.
And empathy. Use a little empathy, would you? Hey guys, don't forget the Rubin Report's brought to you by Coupaw.com. They've got up to 75% off pet treats, toys, and more. And if you use code RR, you can get another 20% off. That's a lot off. There is a link in the description right down below. Code RR, 20% off. Make your pet happy.